Welcome to the Inglorious Blasters podcast, the Star Wars Legion podcast talking anything and everything glorious or inglorious about the game. My name is Corey, and with me today is John and Brendan. How's it going, Flyboys?
It's going good. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
Flyboys? No.
Yeah.
No.
No, you don't like that one?
No.
Brendan,
Keep
would you
coming up
say
with
you
new
are
ones.
Luke or Han?
Me? I'm definitely more of a Han.
More behind. All
I'm,
right,
I'm,
then
I'm, I'm
John's
not
the Luke.
I'm not as innocent and starry-eyed as a Luke would be.
Well, maybe I'll be Chewbacca then. Is he technically a flyboy?
You do have a very thick head of hair and beard.
I do. I think
Yes.
that's why I'll just gladly take Chewbacca. Alrighty, so this week on the podcast, we're going to be talking a little bit of a hobby segment, and then we're going to get right into our glorious or inglorious segment. So that's the segment where we are going to debate on whether or not a unit is good, and that's going to be Obi-Wan. So stick around, guys. So a little bit hobby talk. Shadow Collective came out, so I've been slaving away putting them together. I bought 4 starter boxes. I was only going to go with 3, but then I got enticed with the 4th one. The pikes are... Every time I build a list, I keep adding pikes to it. I think they're going to be really, really good. Whether or not they're in their own battle force or in addition to your regular battle forces, your regular armies. So then I just put on like some base layers and some initial colors, but I still have a lot to go. I assembled all of them. Now I just have the awful job of painting them up.
You're a lot farther along than I am then, because I only got 3 of the box, and so far I've only assembled 2 squads of Black Sun and 1 Maw and 1 Rook cast, and you know I was just putting them together this weekend while I was away from home, and on the way back home I'm taking my case out of the car to bring it back into my house, and the lid comes off and drops everywhere, and now I have to re-glue most of the models back to their bases.
Disaster.
So, you know, more gluing is in my future.
It happens to the best of us. Sometimes it's just inevitable that models will drop.
Yeah.
Like my spider droids have broken their antenna heads at least 3 times now on the same 2 models. So yeah, I just keep I'm just trying to plastic glue it just to give it some life back, but who knows? Who knows if it'll last again? Probably not. John, what about you? Anything? Or are you just waiting on your painting buddy?
Just waiting on my painting buddy. So probably early, mid-August, everything will arrive. So I'm on a 6 to 8 week delay, but they will come already completed and beautiful.
Excellent. I'm a little jealous of that approach sometimes.
I'm very jealous of that approach sometimes because the mounds of unpainted plastic I have are quite intimidating.
Yeah, I guess to be a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to reach out. I have a really good relationship with the commission painter that I've used now for a couple years, where I'll just I'll say like, hey, I need 4 squads of pikes with, you know, red, yellow, blue, green accent colors, and he does a phenomenal job with pretty much everything that he's painted for me.
Nice, that's good.
Yeah.
That's great. Meanwhile, I'm slaving away with a paintbrush.
I know, right? We're the suckers over here.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. I'm
If I
taking
can't
a little
paint
bit
it
of
with
a
a
break.
If I can't paint it with a 2-inch brush, I can't paint it.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right. You're the terrain master.
Yeah.
Terrain master, dry brush master. Not even
There it is,
just
dry
dry brush master.
Yeah, I'm taking a little bit of a break from painting the actual miniatures, and I'm actually painting a vehicle, which I don't normally do. So it's been a real difference for me.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So
What vehicle?
the Lat.
Ooh, awesome. You gonna drop in some Vader?
That's the idea. I think that
That's the
could be
plan.
some fun. I know, Corey's already had a lot of fun facing Vader in a lat.
Oh, I have a lot of PTSD from that. Yes.
So I figured, hey, it sounds fun. I want to give it a try, and the lat's one of the few things I have left unpainted for the Empire. So
Gotcha.
I'm going to
Same,
paint the lat.
actually. Same. I need to paint mine. I've been really lazy with it.
I do have to say, right before I started painting it, I did get the new Army Painter speed paints, and these things are making it so easy.
Nice. That's good.
They're basically the same as GW's Contrast, but cheaper. And
A little bit cheaper. Yeah.
I've literally done just a primer, a dry brush, and then hit it with a couple different grays and some blacks, and it's just pulling in, and it looks so good already. Like I just need to do finer details at this point.
Nice. I love all these newer products coming out to help us out. Like, I don't got time.
Right.
Yeah, anything to make it quicker.
As the name said, speed paint. It's going faster, so I am really looking forward to trying these on some smaller models to see how much faster I can then paint those.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
Nuln oil was a go-to for me when I would paint 40K, because you could prime it, base coat it, cover the whole thing in Nuln oil, and then start dry brushing, and stuff
Always
looked.
have to have Nuln oil.
Yeah,
Lots of
stuff
Nuln
looked
oil.
really sharp too, and
Yeah.
that was towards the tail end of I painted 40K stuff for about 15 years, which is kind of why I have PTSD about painting models. And then also having two small kids, time is not exactly what I have tons of in the evenings.
Time is valuable.
Yeah, time is valuable. But the last 5 years of painting, I felt like Nuln oil was this new amazing thing that at least I had discovered, that expedited everything pretty significantly.
Yeah, for sure. I love Null Oil and then Agraxar's Shade, which is the brown wash version. Yeah. Use those all the time.
They're both great.
Alrighty, what do you guys say we get to the Glorious or Inglorious segment?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. So, just a real quick, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time and don't know what this segment is, basically it's one of us is the judge on a unit card or maybe an upgrade card in the future. We'll figure it out. And then they're going to judge whether or not it is glorious or inglorious. And then one of us is going to take the opposing side, right? So I'll be taking glorious for Obi-Wan Kenobi today. And then Brendan will be taking inglorious. We're going to use about 3 points on each side of the argument. And then it's up to our judge to figure out, the answer for all the world. Figure it out.
All the world.
All of the world. Yes, this is an absolute
This is
opinion.
definitive.
Everyone has to have the same opinion. So yeah, we can go over. How about we go over Obi-Wan's unit card really quick?
Yeah, I can take that if you want.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so Obi-Wan is a commander, trooper unit, 6 health, 3 courage, red defense dice. Currently at 170 points. He's got Jump 1, Charge, Guardian 3, he's immune to Pierce, Master of the Force 1, and Soresu Mastery, which lets him defend using Guardian, and he can use dodge tokens to basically have deflect on his Guardian rolls. He has 2 Force upgrade slots, a command slot, and a training slot. And he's got his lightsaber, which is double rainbow, so 2 red, 2 black, 2 white, which is critical 2, impact 2, and pierce 2. And he's speed 2. Lots of 2s.
Lots of 2s. The man of 2s. Awesome. John, who do you want to hear from first?
Judge John. Sounds like
Judge
a good daytime television show. I will go with Brendan first, who I already forget if you were on the glorious or inglorious side. So this is as random as a coin flip.
I'm on the inglorious side of things.
So bad. You think he's
yeah.
bad.
I think
Yep.
he's bad for the sake of this argument. So, Obi-Wan, compared to a lot of the other Jedi or Sith characters, feels underpowered. He's more expensive than Anakin and has a worse lightsaber. With 2 red, 2 black, and 2 white. He's arguably got the worst lightsaber in the game of anybody with lightsabers who isn't Grievous. And he's only got the 2 Force slots. I mean, you really want 3, but he's only got the 2 despite him, being Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, if he should have 3. But,
He might be like 20 extra points if you had 3, but
but he's already overcosted at 170. Again, he's more points than Anakin, and Anakin only gets better as you play his command cards, where Obi-Wan has really suffered from all the nerfs to the Galactic Republic faction. Again, he's the second most expensive commander that they have behind Yoda. And his 3-pip command card has been severely nerfed because on it, Obi-Wan issues orders to units. They gain surge tokens for each other friendly unit in range 1 of it. And now clones can only share 1 surge token per use. So it's creating a ton of surge tokens that are essentially useless compared to how things were in the back when all the surge tokens could be shared. And then his 2-pip card is great. It gives Obi-Wan a lot of dodges. But, again, he's the second most expensive commander in the game. And the idea behind it is to use those dodges to protect your other units. But this is a dice game. Things could go very poorly. And, then you're losing a very expensive character to bad dice trying to defend less expensive units. And then his 1-pip, I know Corey's probably going to bring up that it's a great card, and it truly is.
I was going to say, don't you dare.
There's one flaw to that card, and which is a double-edged sword. It's the ability to get a standby from the card is amazing. But if you're up against somebody who wins priority on that turn, or you don't go with Obi-Wan immediately because you want to use that standby, and they go with their own Force user, they'll just Force push you and ruin the ability to use that standby. So it's an amazing card unless you're paired up against another Force user. So Obi-Wan, overall, he's great if he runs into basically anything that isn't another Jedi or immune Pearson melee, in my opinion. And nowadays, too many people are bringing their own Force users or Magna Guard. And Obi-Wan is not going to do enough to get through Magna Guard. He's got the worst lightsaber in the game, and the Pierce isn't helping.
I agree with a lot of what you said. I can't fix the worst lightsaber in the game, but he's kind of a more supporty role in the sense that you want to be back with your troops. Ideally, he's there to just soak up the damage from range shots, and then if some melee threat's coming through, let's pretend it's Magna or Wookiees, he's there to stop them for a little bit, not like a lot. Hopefully your ranged people will be there to remove some of the wounds before they actually get into melee range. There's a lot to unpack with what you said, Brendan.
You're welcome.
But I could, let's see, I'll challenge the 2-pip that I think it was a 3-pip, right? His 3-pip is the one that gives surges, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. It's kind of like, so I'll put it, when I'm talking about Obi-Wan, you kind of have to talk about, it's like slightly cheating, but I'm going to take it. So you have to kind of talk about what else you bring to the army. Most of the time, you're going to bring Padme. And Padme is a great piece to have next to Obi-Wan. So if you just throw one of the orders onto Padme, she could share all those surges just like the clone troopers did back in the day.
Because of Obi-Wan.
I don't... What's that?
Because of Obi-Wan.
Yeah, because of Obi-Wan.
Because of Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anakin. He doesn't want to see Obi-Wan with Padme.
Oh, man, it's like they were brothers or something. Oh, boy. But yeah, he wants to just cheat on Padme, right? Or cheat with Padme.
Cheat with Padme.
Yeah. So I think that's the key to like using Obi-Wan a little bit better. You just have to have Padme. Like Padme unlocks a lot of shenanigans within the Republic army. It just makes Obi-Wan's token generation like a lot better and sharing like better. So I think that's like my counter for that one for you. And then, I mean, yeah, Hello There's a great card. I think you're ideally running, you're trying to last first with that, not into a Force user. You're right, we are seeing some more Force users, but ideally you just run into like a shore trooper or something, and then just mop them up. Eat them for breakfast.
Again, I admit it's a great card as long as it's not a Force user.
Yeah. Yes, I will 100% concede that one. John, do you want to say anything with Brendan's points before I move on to mine, I guess?
I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. And it was actually, I was excited to do this segment when we decided on Obi-Wan, because after the Clone Trooper nerf, I started playing Obi-Wan and probably played him for 4 or 5 games. Just to see, like, you know, maybe I add a Force user, maybe I get tokens from some of his cards. And pretty much all of Brendan's points were pretty much what I found. Like, I never felt like his lightsaber was reliable or overly potent even when it did land. And I even looked at some stats on, because there's no surge, so on average it's 2.99 hits without a name and 3.7 with a name. So you really need tenacity.
To be fair,
right,
though,
which I'll get into.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan does have critical 2 on his lightsaber, which is more than a lot of other lightsabers have.
That is true.
That should ideally be enough to like. That should be enough.
Yes. Disregard what I just
surge
said.
Stuff.
Get out, Jeff.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So basically, he has surge crit because you never really get more than 2 surges. Yeah.
Right.
Disregard that point. This whole argument is.
It would be unusual if you got more than that.
Yeah.
Right, I would call that dice variance. If I got like 6 surges, I'd be like, well, okay, dice game.
But in comparison to other Force users, I definitely agree with Brendan. Like, he never felt super crazy like when you would dive with him. And like, so then I tried him more as like a support piece, but he never felt overly good at that either. So I almost feel like Obi-Wan is, the challenge I have with him was he's like sort of support and sort of aggro, but not like really good at either. So I'd almost rather.
Anyways, so I think you're gonna say things I'm gonna say. So
all right,
I don't want to cut you off, but I just don't want to be like I just don't want to sound like I'm gonna repeat the same things.
Hey, I'm taking notes. I got everything Brendan said next to this frog notepad.
Oh, good.
In not so many words, but
right. Just bullet points. Yeah, nice. Let's see. So my first point is, he's a flexible Force user. He has great upgrade slots with 2 Force slots, a command, and a training. So ideally, there's multiple different ways you can kit him out. So for example, you could do the more protect style. So you can do with your Guardian 3, you could use your protector. You can use Force barrier, and if you want to keep dodges around, you got vigilance for that. And then you can more gear him towards attack, right? So you can put on saber throw or burst of speed, depending on how you like to engage with your enemy, either at range 2 or, super get in there. And then you also have tenacity to upgrade your offensive abilities. His Hello There card enables the more aggressive plays, so you could generate a good amount of tokens and standbys to use, right? like that will enable the aggressive upgrades. Like that, like hello there is the only aggressive play he's got. It's gonna be the one that counts. So that's why I think he can flex into whatever your type of play style is, and I think that's kind of cool. So the second point I got is Obi-Wan is like, in my opinion, tailor-made for protecting troops. I know I said he's, you could do multiple ways, but a lot of his kit comes with protecting troops. And I was saying before, Padme helps with the token generating and sharing to the different units. And I will say you don't have to Guardian just clones, right? You can Guardian now Pikes, along with Wookiees as well, right? Exemplar from Padme is like a great help to Obi-Wan. It just helps get those surges out more often. So for a third point, I believe his greatest weakness in the past has been like range 3 trooper selections with the army. And then at max, you get like 9 activations, and then that feels kind of bad. So I feel like this has changed a little bit with the Shadow Collective stuff. So before the Shadow Collective, he could stay at like range 4, like while his range 3 troops are a little bit ahead of him, and then he could still use his Force Barrier and Guardian, right? But there's a lot of range 4 power in the game, coming from ideally the most broken faction, right, which is droids. So that's like the tank and the spiders, and then whatever Magna rockets, right? But now, if you add like some pikes into the mix, they have that range 4 gun, so he could sit around range 5, range 5.5 ish of his troops, and feel a little bit more safe from return fire at that range. Because if your opponent wants to shoot at Obi-Wan, they have to cover more distance to get to him. Your gun line only gets stronger when like they want to approach Obi-Wan, because then you can start using those pikes range 3s, or your clone range 3s. So I kind of came up with like a little list that I think would be good. I haven't tried it yet, but essentially it's just Obi-Wan and a capo, and you got Padme, and then you have 3 phase 1s with one of them having an RPS, and then three pikes with the range 4 gun and Echo, and that's 10 acts, and it's the more protect style. So Obi-Wan has Force Push, Force Barrier. I threw Aggressive Tactics on and Protector, and then Padme and the capo have Vigilance for like 793, and it's got like a bid. I feel like with these newer changes, it's going to be difficult to get any type of shot and like kill a unit. So so if Obi-Wan has the bid, good luck winning on an objective like Sabotage the Moisture Evaporators, where it's mainly about kill points. He will be using Guardian, Protector, Force Barrier, and loaded with dodges. The pikes all have outmaneuver with the dodges of their own, and potentially more from Padme or the capo. And then let's pretend, during the round, Obi-Wan has already used all those cards like Protector or Force Barrier. He can then, if it's turn 1 or 2, you could probably be pretty safe activating Obi-Wan in the middle of that round to just like recover, get those cards back, and then turn on Barrier and Protector again, and maybe add another dodge on top of it. So I think there's some real play here that got really introduced, and I feel like these changes will help him feel glorious again.
If I can poke one immediate potential flaw into the list you just talked about, you said you had 3 pikes in there?
Yes.
Did you have an Underworld Connections upgrade? Because you are limited to 2 without it.
You can only do 2 with that.
So you'd have to drop one of
I did not, but I could add it. That's fine.
Yeah, you'd have to drop one of the Vigilance upgrades for it. So
okay.
It would cut back on your ability to save dodges. But
it would.
Otherwise, I mean, it's a small thing. I just want to throw it out there for the listeners to make sure they understand the weird nuances of the list building now, because the game's getting complicated in the right way. But no, I mean, that sounds like a decent list, but it feels like a feels bad list, because Jedi are, at least in my opinion, way less fun in a support role, and they're hiding away from all the action. Nobody pretends
True,
to
but have
when
you
they're
met
playing
me?
with the lightsaber. No, yes, I have. I'm just saying.
Have you played
if
against
you
the
pick
AAT
up a
double
lightsaber,
spider list?
Yeah, I know it feels weird, but that's what Obi-Wan does though. If you watch him in like the shows and the movies, right? He's hanging in there with his boys, like just like deflecting and
he does,
hanging
and
out.
It feels very to character. I won't disagree. However, at the same time, this is the same character who beat a newly minted Darth Vader. And if you have him go up against Anakin or any of the Darth Vaders, it doesn't feel like you'll win in the 1-to-1 matchup. So I think he is lacking something thematically to be able to have a better shot if he has to go up against a Vader or Anakin in one-on-one. Obviously,
Right.
He's very thematic with the whole protecting his troops sort of a deal, but he is lacking something in terms of being able to beat other Force users. We've seen him beat Maul. We've seen him beat Anakin and Vader. It doesn't feel that way in the game.
I agree. Like it's just, yeah.
Clone Wars.
I'm working with what we got, right?
No, I agree. Clone Wars
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is very well represented, but the
Yeah.
greater Obi-Wan character at the end of the Clone Wars and Episode 1, it doesn't feel like he's there.
For Guardian, I don't remember. It's been a while since I've played Obi-Wan or anything that's had Guardian. If he has like 3 dodges and he Guardians 3, can he spend all 3 dodges or can you only spend 1 dodge?
He can spend multiple dodges.
Okay.
Yep. If you got him, spend him.
Yeah, I was thinking through the synergies of the list you were talking about, Corey, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting.
Which, on his 2-pip, when he gets a dodge token for every other friendly trooper unit at range 1...
Yeah, it's like everything's invincible almost for that.
Yeah, please use Guardian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he also deflects back on it, which is scary if you decide to, Guardian, use 1 dodge, roll 2, hope for searches.
I might have to try and find a way to add a medic in there too. Like, I know the medic's expensive, but like if you can heal at least 1 wound off of Obi-Wan, like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, medics are 20 points. Ugh.
His wounds are so good, so it's just the medics in Gar are so expensive.
Yeah.
I think that the Guardian always... I remember playing a game against an Obi-Wan, and he Guardian 3 shots but failed both saves, and it was almost like then Obi-Wan was essentially neutered the rest of the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a dice game. I mean...
So it always, like, scared... When I played him, I was always like, do I want to potentially take a wound on Obi-Wan to save, like, a Phase 1 or even Phase 2 clone when they already have decent saves?
This is one of those decision trees you have to, like, figure out in the moment, like... Mm-hmm. And you're just trying to bake in, like, dodges. Essentially, when you play Obi-Wan, you want to bake in as many dodges as possible. So that's why you need Padme to help you out. And then that's why I was thinking pikes have their own dodges. So like the less that Obi-Wan has to roll, the better, right?
Yeah, you mitigate.
So in the moment you're like, is this worth a Guardian roll on Obi-Wan or not? So it's just like a skill. It's like a skill level. You have to just try and figure it out.
Yeah. So I played with Obi-Wan actually last week for a learning game. I was very and big spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched Kenobi yet, but I was very influenced by Kenobi, so I brought an Obi-Wan list and a Vader list to teach somebody the game, and I ended up playing the Obi-Wan side of things, and so I had some fun, and I had a naked Phase 1 squad with portable scanners who were just supposed to follow him around and keep giving him a dodge token every round.
Nice. Yeah, these are, again, like, any way you can give him dodges is, like, he feels almost unstoppable. When you make an Obi-Wan list, you need to figure out a way to, like, confuse your opponent on who do you actually shoot. Do you shoot at Obi-Wan, or do you shoot at, like, the units he's supporting? Because if you're shooting at the units, you're If you're using barrier, which I think is the correct move nowadays, yeah, do you shoot at that? And then do they have like outmaneuver like pikes? You just want to make them full of like bad choices to shoot at.
I will fully admit Obi-Wan is one of the units where he might not be the scariest unit on the table, but he is the one who makes you overthink your targets more than any other unit. Because
Yes.
if he's got dodges, you really need to think about who you're shooting. Because shoot him
Yep.
or somebody near him, and you could be seeing some blaster bolts back to the face.
And that's the beauty. It's a 1 out of 6 for deflect, and that's instant.
Yeah, there's no blocking that.
It does make me want to try some Obi-Wan Padme list, because I did not play him any of those times with Padme. I love playing Padme. She works really nicely in the Wookiee list that I've been playing for a while. I don't know. If you take Padme out of the equation, though, is Obi-Wan still... Which I think that's kind of my thing, is like when I'm thinking about, like, is he glorious or inglorious? If the answer is he's only glorious with Padme, you know what I mean? Like that. So that's
Right.
kind of my hesitation when thinking through, like, him specifically, is he glorious, or is he really only glorious in combination with Padme?
I will say he is a lot scarier when you put him in a double Jedi list, like with Anakin. I have faced an Obi-Wan Anakin list before, and
That sounds like a nightmare.
It was, especially since I didn't have my own Jedi. So I was trying something different. I usually like having a Jedi, but man, it is scary because they stick next to each other. So do you shoot Anakin and guarantee getting 1 wound back, or do you shoot Obi-Wan and who knows how many wounds you're getting back?
Who knows?
And whatever, Anakin's got, once he has Exemplar, Obi-Wan can use. So there's no winning on who you're going to end up shooting as they run across the table at you.
The thing I would say is Obi-Wan feels like a support character. If you look at him on paper, he doesn't look that amazing. You can run the stats on his saber. It's just he helps everyone else be awesome. That's his whole shtick from like Clone Wars. That's represented on this card. So that's why I was kind of cheating a little bit, talking about all the other characters and stuff that you can add in to make Obi-Wan like be the best that he can be, like excel at what he's supposed to excel at. So I'll leave that up to the judge, but that was my thought process. If you want a fair, I'm trying to put his best foot forward rather than like just on his like worst foot forward, which is just on paper.
Now, I will concede to Corey. Yeah, if you look at Obi-Wan in a vacuum, I think we'll say he's inglorious. But if you look at the potential he provides in how he can be built into an army, that's where it starts to become an argument for whether or not he truly actually is inglorious or he's glorious. And now it's up to John to figure it out.
It's up to John.
Yeah, I am. If you think I'm intently staring at both of you on the Zoom, I'm actually just reading through all of his cards and Padme's cards simultaneously, building lists, because I'm like, wow, that's an interesting combo. I did not think about that.
Yeah.
So at the very least, I'm interested to try some Obi Padme list, not in a competitive setting yet, but just to
try it.
Yeah, just to try it, because every game I played with him, it was not Padme was not on the table with him. But at the same time, I keep looking at it and I'm putting everything together, and it seems, I don't know, I'm trying not to be biased towards like Wookiees, or like looking at him then looking at the Chieftain, and they're both a double rainbow attack, and the Chieftain is 70 points cheaper.
Yeah, but he doesn't got critical.
Or Pierce too.
Or Pierce too.
Impact
Yeah,
too.
that's the big one.
But if I can throw in one more low blow for the Inglorious side of things, the whole faction's too expensive.
Agreed.
I think I think that's like so. As you were, my next thought was, I kept looking at it and I was starting with Obi-Wan and Padme, and it's like, okay, immediately 270.
Yeah, you're almost
upwards
at
of 300. But yeah, by the time you do Force Push, by the time you put Vigilance on Padme, and then with just that 500 points left, and I've crafted a lot of guard list, it's just like, what am I gonna?
At that point.
Yeah, I mean, but there is some interesting stuff with having the pikes and having a 66-point unit with a range 4 gun. So you threw in some very interesting things where I was starting to, like, I immediately went into Tabletop Admiral and started putting together my own kind of, like, what could you do?
You can get to 10 acts. It's not hard, and with a bid. Like, I usually like to play with a bid, and this playstyle looks fun.
No, I'll agree. That list does look fun.
Yeah, it does.
It reminds me of what Palpatine and the Royal Guards do, where Palpatine has a Force Barrier, and then you got Guardian, also with Protector. It reminds me of that combo, except everything is all focused on Obi and not split off on the guard as well.
I would agree. If anything, it's scarier than that Palpatine list because Palpatine doesn't have deflect.
Yes, good point. I don't know. Palp's got the bomb though, so
he does.
Burst of Speed bomb is pretty dumb. Let's be real.
Yeah, it is.
I wish I'm with Brendan mentioning the fact that like he doesn't have that third Force slot, because I think that would open up. I don't know, because yeah, you're right. When he has the 2, you're like, okay, Force Push already spoken for. So you can build lists with Barrier. You can build lists with Saber Throw, which would be more of what I'd be inclined to do for fire support reasons. But if he had 3, then you could it adds to his flexibility. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel like if I'm going more melee, I think there are better options with the faction. If you're going more support, I almost feel like Padme can sustain that role by herself, and you save, 180 plus points on an Obi-Wan, at the detriment to everything you surround him with, because then they're more squishy units. But I also see the fact that, between the Guardian and all the dodges, and then if you're talking pikes, the outmaneuver and native dodge that they have, I think, so I have made up my choice. I am going to go with Brendan. I agree, he is Inglorious. But if it's any consolation, I do think it's TBD with some of the Shadow Collective stuff to see how he works with pikes, and I'm very intrigued to see how he works with Padme. I just haven't seen it when I've played against him. I haven't felt threatened by him. When I've played with him, he felt lackluster to me. Yeah. So, but I'd be interested to try some of the combos that you were talking about, Corey. But for now, I'm going Inglorious.
Nice. Alrighty, well that's fine.
Yeah.
Good job, Brendan. By the way.
Thank you. He's not a bad unit by any stretch. We just want to make that clear to everybody listening. But he's just lacking that little bit to take him the next step.
Little extra something needed. Yeah, don't know what yet.
Maybe it'll get fixed with the next a new errata to adjust points for the faction. Maybe they'll decide he needs a little extra love like they gave Vader in the last major errata. So,
yeah, that'd be awesome.
He's not a bad unit or a bad person.
No, he's definitely not a bad
He's a really good guy, let's be honest.
He's swell, yeah.
If anything, I think he should at least get another Force slot. He was a master on the council.
Yeah, I would agree with that, yeah. It's just like, how do you cost that, though? I'm not the game designer.
If no other points change, leave it as is and just give him another slot.
People would probably play him more then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what do you call it? I mean, other podcasts and other people have talked about this. Like, every time I go to like a tournament, everyone's like, why bother printing Force Push when Force Push should just be automatically on the Jedi, like, at this point?
Yeah.
I'd rather just pay the extra 10 points and then just have those 2 Force slots. Like, I think that would be the easiest fix. Like, if you have any Force slot upgrades, automatically have Force Push. Like, they could errata that in the RRG or something. You don't even have to print new cards.
While I like that idea in concept, I hate it because we have those nice new alt art Force Push cards.
True.
I will say I was disappointed that no one had any ridiculous points that they wanted to throw in, just for the sake
I'll be
of
honest.
the laugh.
I'll be honest. I thought of some ridiculous points, but then as I was like going through it, I was like, actually, hold on, Obi-Wan's not bad. Like, he's not terrible. Now with the Pike stuff, like it looks fun.
He's if there was somewhere in between Glorious and Inglorious, he'd be there.
That's
Right,
it's
but on this
actually-
show, we don't do that at all.
Right,
It's
yeah,
Glorious or
you have to pick a
Inglorious.
side, and yeah. I kind of felt the same as I was listening to both your points and kind of talking it through both aloud and to myself. I was like, I'm kind of split, but we did not talk in advance about if there was a middle ground. So I would call it a 49-51 in favor of Brendan.
He's far from unplayable. He's just maybe not competitively good.
There's things that I forget
He's
too,
so
like
close. So
like
close.
when I was looking at his card, I wasn't paying that close attention looking at the critical 2 impact 2 pierce 2, and I'm just like, he doesn't even, and it's just because I haven't played him in so long, and nor do I ever even look at him for list inclusion. So
If you're gonna
Like
give
the
him
critical two being
he
on
might
there.
as well
Yeah.
search to crit.
yeah, basically.
I wish they removed one of his white dice from his like lightsaber and gave it like a black. I don't know. Like I feel like that would feel better.
I get rid of both white and make it 2 more black.
Yeah, and then you
make
could
it
keep the
2
same
red,
points
4
and
black.
still probably no one would play him. I don't know.
He rides such a delicate line of like, if you do just the slightest tweak, he could become
Right.
broken. But in his current state, he's less than.
Maybe it could be something as simple as just a reworking of his General Kenobi card. You know, because it's giving out a lot of surges that, unless you
Right.
have an exemplar unit, most
Yeah.
of those surges are going unused.
Yep.
I'll say it again. I don't really play the Republic, but this list, as I was like coming up with arguments, it looks fun. I would certainly give him a shot in the future.
Agreed.
Oh yeah, definitely. Does look fun. Again, I just played him last week for a teaching game, and I had a blast playing him. You know, even though I was just teaching the game, he is fun to play with.
Yeah. Force uses are just inherently fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lightsabers are fun. I'll keep saying.
Alrighty. Any other final thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap this boy up?
I don't think so.
I'll repeat, lightsabers are fun.
Lightsabers are fun. All right, everyone, stay glorious. If you liked this episode and would like to interact with us, please like our page on Facebook, search for The Inglorious Blasters, a Star Wars Legion podcast. Follow us on Instagram at SWL Inglorious Blasters. Subscribe to us on your preferred podcasting app. Please give us a rating and maybe leave a review. It would really help us out. Stay glorious, everyone.